Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhardt here, LMP Lancaster Online. Welcome into week 2 of the LL League Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. Special week this week. It's Brave Bowl week, Octorara and Pequea Valley. So Tyler and I thought that we would try to hit both schools this week, give you a little flavor on both campuses, both practices, see how these teams prep for this fun backyard rivalry. So here we are at Octorara, talking with these Braves who will play the PV Braves on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock right here in Atglen in another edition of the Braves Bowl. Here we are, Octorara quarterback / linebacker, good all-around egg, and a really good football player. Braden Wood is here. Hey, Braden, how are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Great start. 1-0 in overtime. Was that like your first varsity OT game?
I mean, that's our first one in a minute, so felt good. First time going to overtime. We were pushed throughout the game. Started off strong, hit like a little slow point, but going to OT, you got to push through everything. What
did that win do for momentum? You don't have to really get up for Pequea Valley week because you know who you're playing that weekend, but that had to really help with your mo and your juice and just really hitting this week with a lot of good momentum. True?
Yep. Biggest thing, obviously new coaching staff. That's not a secret to anybody. Different playbook, different defense. Everything's different, but getting that first win under our belt really sets everything in motion. Kind of gets us going for the rest of the season. We got a tough schedule. Everyone knows that, but we're here to compete. We're here to play. That shows everyone week 1 win.
Nose guard, and you're going to face a team this week that's wing T. Pequea's going to get it on the ground, stick it on the ground. They rushed for 200-plus yards last week. I know they lose, but they ran the ball really well. Speak to the D this week. You only gave up 7 to Muhlenberg, and they had that Miller kid who's a good running back. Now you're going to see a wing T team that you know they're going to run the ball 50 times. So speak to the D this week and what you guys got to get done up front defensively.
Just got to do our jobs, play our assignments, hold our gaps, make sure they can't get a push on the D-line. Linebackers keep good vision and just always keep an eye where the ball is. Make sure they're not tricking us. Everybody's always hyped up for this week. It's a lot of fans come out from the high school. The student section's always going wild during Pequea, and so it should be a great atmosphere. Get everybody really excited for the game, and guess we'll play as hard as we possibly can.
1 week in the books. Biglerville, close one, went down to the end. Where are you guys at after 1 week?
It was definitely heartbreaking, going into that game. Even you guys picked us to win. I did. And, it was just minor mistakes, That game, we rushed for more yards than we did the entire season in any game last year. And it was definitely a heartbreak, but we're going to fix things and be ready.
Talk about some things you got to get done on Saturday.
Yeah, it's like if we march down the field, we take a time off the clock, we have to score. We can't come up short. We have to score, because it's a game of possessions, and we can't lose possessions or come up short possessions. We got to score. We got to hold on to the ball. We got to push forward for yards. We got to push the pile if it gets a pile up. We got to get there. We got to rally to the ball. There's a lot of stuff that comes into it, and there's a lot of stuff that we got to learn and we got to fix this week. But I'd like to come out on top.
This is the end of this rivalry. We won't get into why or how or who or what. But this is the last one for you guys for a while. Hopefully it comes back, knock on wood. But does that make it even juicier knowing, hey, this is the last one. Let's get the trophy back and keep it in our case for a while until they play again?
Yeah, that's the thing. We want to bring that trophy home for sure. We want it to sit right out there and collect dust under the Pequea Valley Braves, not the Octorara Braves for sure.
And we're back in the studio with the LL Football Roundtable. Thank you to Jeffrey for his reports from Octorara and Pequea Valley. Yes, and thanks to the folks at those two schools for putting up with Ryan's for a little bit. Yeah, okay, we're back. It's the LL Football Roundtable, week 2 of the season. 28 games last week. Ooh. A very modest schedule this week, 27 games. We'll breeze right through this in no time at all. Anyway, it was an interesting week, as they always are. By my count, our teams went 10-8 against non-LL opponents last week. That was my count. Of course, there were many games that were LL versus LL. A couple of teams. I'm going to mention a couple of under the radar a little bit teams who I thought got good wins last week. Ephrata beating Red Lion, a 6A opponent. I thought Elko and Anvil both winning as decisively as they did. Yeah, that was pretty good under the radar wins. But the two most significant games I thought this week, and by the way, I'm Mike Gross, your host for these proceedings.
There you go.
Were the two games that were covered by our scribes here. To my left, Jason Guarente, and to my right, Jeff Reinhardt. Let's start with Hempfield surviving maybe an upset bid, if that's the right term, at Dallastown.
Surviving is a good word for it. They were down 14 points. They were struggling to score. They threw 2 interceptions in the end zone. But there's something to be said for being used to winning, and it's 14-10. They have to drive the length of the field. They have a quarterback they believe in. They have success in their rearview mirror, and they march right down the field and they pull it out. I think there's a culture there now that maybe wasn't there before, and that's a game that maybe they wouldn't have won in the recent past, but when they believe in their quarterback and they believe in each other, and that's how they were able to pull it out.
Couple things. The quarterback is new, right?
Yeah, he was there last year.
Yeah,
Jackson.
he was there last year. Okay. And Dallastown maybe not so much a traditional program or recent success. You know, what you're talking about.
Also, Dallastown kind of took their foot off the accelerator a little bit, and they got a little conservative, and the door was just open just enough where one score. They got a fluky long touchdown on a nice play by Cam Margison, and then there was a one-score game for a long time. Dallastown never added on to it, and that allowed Hempfield to get the big score at the end.
Interesting.
So significant because we think Hempfield's going to be good. We think they're going to be a contender in the section. We think they're going to be a district playoff team. So to get a loss that early, that would have been hurt. Yeah, that would have been kind of a big deal. Now the other one, and this is the one that I think raised eyebrows.
Oh, definitely.
Was Warwick beating Cocalico.
Warwick Cocalico. The whole crux of the game was this. First half, Cocalico completely dominated the game.
Yeah.
Completely. Warwick did not cross midfield, but Cocalico had 2 Cocalico drives. Bang. All runs down the field, but had to settle for field goals. Didn't get 7, got 3. So it was only 6-0. Which, if it's 14-0 instead of 6, it's probably a different game.
Yeah.
And then Warwick came out completely different team after the half. Got a pick. Trevor Evans at quarterback, marched him down, a couple long drives. Finally was able to find Thomas Jeans, his really good receiver, on some seam routes and got him downfield. Kicked the field goal with 5 minutes left to get the lead and held Cocalico off. So you mentioned Dallastown maybe took their foot off. Not saying Cocalico totally took their foot off, but not getting 7 and getting 3s in the first half hurt them a little bit. Warwick jumped on that, played a spirited second half, and beat them. So Cocalico, district champ, 0-1 with some work to do.
That's the one game that, to me, of all this monster schedule, that's the one that we're pretty sure was a real upset from last week. Week 1, you got to realize maybe some of these teams just aren't any good, and that's what's happening. But Cocalico's good, and they're going to be good, and that was a very significant result.
Like you said, that raised a lot of eyebrows, and great start for Warwick. And now they got a trophy game on Friday.
A trophy game.
Yep.
We kind of specialize in the trophy games.
Yes.
The Big Ten and the LL. That's where we are. So let's talk about it. We got a couple of games. We're going to sift through the big schedule and talk a little bit about. Let's start with one of those trophy games, which is Ephrata and Warwick, both 1-0. Jason.
Ephrata hasn't been 1-0 very often.
No, it's been a while.
20 years, I believe twice in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I was going to talk about Nick Keller, the fastest man in the LL League.
There you go.
Won the 100, 200, and 400 meters at the league track and field championships. He's a track kid. His dad was the coach at Ephrata for a long time, but apparently a great football player too, because he had a key interception at the end of the first week win and a long touchdown reception. And the power of playing multiple sports. He's a big physical kid. He's stronger than you typically associate with a sprinter. And he won those 3 sprints as a sophomore. He's only a junior, so he's one of the more exceptional athletes in the LL League.
How big is he?
It's a good. I would say high 100. 180, 190.
Yeah.
And they need him because Jeremiah Knowles is out with an injury. I don't know if he's going to play this Friday, but he didn't play in the opener, so they needed Keller to be that receiver, DB, kid.
Little bit on the
Yeah.
history of this rivalry, Ryan.
Warwick leads it all time.
Yeah.
They have 47 wins. This goes back into the 50s.
Yeah.
Warwick had won 15 in a row going back to 2005. They didn't play a couple of times, the COVID year, etc. But Ephrata won last year for the first time in 15 years, 29-21. So good for those guys. But they both have some mo here coming off of week 1.
Yeah.
Warwick's at home. Really feeling good after beating Cocalico. Should be fun. There were years where this was 56-0, 49-6, but Ephrata can compete now.
Doesn't seem like it's going to be that this year. Yeah.
I don't think so. No, this should be a really fun game. We'll see if they get Knowles back, and Ephrata did some good stuff in week 1. So did Warwick. So.
Now our second feature game is completely different than that. It's not a neighborhood rivalry. It's not even it's an intrastate
battle.
Or no, interstate. Battle. Manheim Central against Smyrna, Delaware. Ryan, give us a little bit of an overview on this one.
I applaud Central for doing this. I mean, they're going to go out of state. They'll get no power points for this. And Smyrna's a heck of a program. They won the state title last year in Delaware. They were in the state finals the year before and only lost by a touchdown. They did lose a bunch of good kids. So Central might be getting them at the right time. They lost a 2,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver, 2 100-tackle defensive guys, and it's their first game of the year. Mm-hmm. And they have to defend a Central team that just lit up Westchester East last week.
Yeah. Speaking of lighting it up, Jason, they've got a quarterback. In addition to their many other weapons, they've got a quarterback at Manheim Central who maybe flies a little under the radar.
Well, I saw Coach Dave Hahn on Twitter. He was pumping up his guys, trying to get college coaches interested, and Aaron Enterline was one of them. And I mean, if you're not interested in Aaron Enterline, I don't know what it takes.
I'm surprised people aren't more interested, though. I mean, anyway.
Bonkers athlete. And then also Zach Hahn, who's the coach's son, who went 13 for 14 for 230 yards and 5 touchdowns. And, you know, he's not the tallest and he's not the fastest, but he's elusive in the pocket. He's got a good arm and he knows the position. He has the intangibles, and he's just a great high school quarterback. And sometimes we project and we say, oh, well, who will be Division I? Who will be playing on Saturday? But we're talking about Friday nights, and he's at this level extraordinary. And it's, you know, maybe take a minute to acknowledge that.
I made this point last year on this show, but it amazes me the efficiency numbers in the passing game that we now see from our quarterback in our league. I mean, the kid from Manheim Township was like 23 for 26 for 274 yards. Yeah. I mean, these guys are completing 80% of their passes for 10 yards per attempt. Yeah. Kerry Collins never did that. Frank Reich never did that. Jeff Smoker never did that. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah, there's a bunch of those kids right now in the league where their completion percentage is great. The final game, and we've got games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week. So Rhines will be on tour, and the last stop on his tour is fabulous Octorara. That's our third feature game. Yes, as you saw at the top, it's a very important game for that end of the county. These kids know each other. They go to the Gap McDonald's together. They play midgets, peewees growing up. The Braves Bowl, and sadly, this will be the last one for at least 2 years. They took this game off the schedule. Bummer for the kids. They just want to play.
And they took them off the schedule not because of anything the kids had to do.
Some off the field stuff, yada yada yada. The kids want to play, but you know, they're not going to play. So 10-3 Octorara in the series, and Octorara's coming off a good gut check overtime win. Pequea Valley getting better. They have some athletes coming through right now.
Sounds like they competed.
Yes, they had 200 rushing yards in that game, and it was more than they had in any game last year. Breaking in a wing tee look. Always fun when they get together for the Braves Bowl, and this will be a significant one because it'll be the last one for at least 2 years. So I'll see you in Adclan on Saturday morning.
Okay, there you have it, gang. Week 2 coming, 27 count 'em games, and they are on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So where are we going this week, Jason?
Hempfield at York, another York County opponent. Black Knights had some trouble with Dallastown's athleticism. They got some big plays, and York is obviously going to have plenty of that.
Yeah, Dallastown is a Division I wide receiver. Just I just thought of this. That running back from the last couple of years, he was a great player at York.
Yes.
Is now in West Virginia, which is coming to Penn State on Saturday. So, Rhines, where are you going?
Okay, Thursday night, Lebco, Lebanon County, Garden Spot at Lebanon. Love their field. Alumni Stadium?
Alumni Stadium.
Great place to watch a football game. Great place to watch
Was a
a game.
works project administration project
Yes.
during Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, by the
No
way.
kidding.
That's how that stadium was constructed.
Spectacular
Fun
site.
fact.
There you go. Anxious to see Garden Spot, Kai Harding, 1,000 kid. Garden Spot's tough. Friday night, Delaware. See you in Wilmington for Manheim Central, Smyrna at a really cool complex down there at the Salesianum. I can never say it.
Yeah,
School. Yes,
Salesianum.
school.
Yeah, I don't
Cool.
know how to say that either.
Cool venue. See how the Barons fare. That's a 3:30 kick. That'll help with deadline immensely. And then Saturday morning, I'm going to go see the Braves Bowl, Pequea Valley at Octorara. Where are you going?
And I will be going to CD East tomorrow, Thursday. Cedar Crest and CD East. Both teams 1-0 pretty easily and pretty impressively in week one. So
Yes.
we'll see how that goes. The Falcons look like they're in a little better shape. All right, gang, that should do it. This has been the LL Football Roundtable brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. For Jason Guarente, for Jeff Reinhardt, for Mike Gross, see ya.